Hello lovely friends, spooky season and fall is upon us, so today I'm going to be doing a massive cozy mystery and mystery book recommendation list for fall to help you if you need some ideas for your spooky season TBR. These are all mysteries that either take place during the fall or have a very fall appropriate theme. So let's go ahead and start with the general not supernatural cozy mystery section. So it's difficult with cozy mysteries because many of them will have fall or Halloween or like seasonal ones that are later in the series. So I tried to pick ones that were either the beginning of the series or within like the first 3 books, with the exception of one which I'll point out. That way if you are looking to read it during this time, you can either jump in very early in the series or read the previous books probably during the same season. So starting off, I want to recommend Ellie Alexander's Sloane Cross mystery series. So the second book in the series, this is the third book. I haven't read the third book, but I have read book 1 and 2. The second book in the series specifically is called A Pint of No Return, and it takes place during Oktoberfest. And this series takes place in Leavenworth, Washington. The whole town is very like Bavarian themed with like the architecture. There are tons of like small brewing companies, microbreweries, stuff like that. It's very, very atmospheric, which is so Ellie Alexander. I really enjoy this. And what I have to say about this series is I was a little hesitant to start because I don't personally drink, so I wasn't so sure that like the theme of the series with the brewing would really appeal to me, but I've actually found it to be very interesting from a brewer's perspective, like reading from the main character Sloane's perspective. In the first book, her husband is cheating on her. She finds out, she storms out of the family brew house where she's been working with her husband to go out on her own venture, which is very interesting. And the second book especially kicks up the series. I liked book 1, I gave it like a 3.5 stars I think, but book 2 was really good, and that's where the fall vibes, the Oktoberfest really comes in. So I really recommend this series. I think it's a great one for fall. Another one that I just adore, and this is by Diane Kelly. I've read the first book in the series, and the second one was actually on my fall TBR, which I'll link above if you missed that video. But this is the Mountain Lodge mystery series by Diane Kelly. So this takes place in a mountain lodge in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and our main character Misty is actually getting a divorce, but it's very amicable. They have grown children, and she's using her money from the divorce to buy this like dilapidated mountain lodge. So the setting is perfect for fall and winter, and specifically the second book in the series, A Trip with Trouble, is a very autumn-centric one, lots of fall foliage. In fact, there's this motorcycle club, the Dangerous Curves group, which is all women, and they are specifically staying at the Mountain Lodge Resort to travel and like drive around the area to look at the fall foliage, and then something happens, of course. But book 1, the mystery for this, I still remember the reveal. That's how good it is, and I've read a ton of books this year, so when I can still picture a very clear idea of what the reveal was, that tells you something about how much I enjoyed it. The cat is adorable. There's little portions written from the cat's perspective. The next 2 are both first picks in a series, and they both take place during fall. One of them is A Cat in the Sacks mystery series by Miranda James. This is called Murder Past Due, and this is our cover. It takes place during autumn in Athena, Mississippi, and our main character is actually a male protagonist, which is pretty rare in the cozy world. His name is Charlie, and he's like a librarian, and I want to say he works at like a local university. He does like, what do you say? He like archives books and things like that, and his cat, Diesel, is a Maine Coon cat, and he walks him around town. So there's all these cute autumn scenes with him walking the cat. And in this one, he has an old classmate who is now famous as an author who's coming back to town, and everyone's really excited, and he gets into some trouble when he's accused of a murder, and Charlie kind of investigates. And the ending for this was so suspenseful. I'm so excited to read the next book in the series. I need to pick it up from my library, but this was excellent. If you like cats, if you like bookish, if you're looking for a fall cozy, this is such a great pick. I really recommend it. The other one that is also a first in the series is Murder in the Mystery Suite by Ellery Adams. This is a book retreat mystery. As you can see, beautiful autumn colors here on the cover. This one takes place in Virginia. Our main character is Jane. She is the mother of 2 young twin boys who are very rambunctious, and she works at her family's resort, which is like this bookish themed resort, and she's starting to do event planning. So they're having this mystery event. Like all these mystery lovers are coming, and it's amazing. There's so many fun themed mystery events. People are dressing up, and of course a murder happens. There's also a really interesting subplot with the resort that our family runs itself and everything they do there, so I'm going to leave it at that. But it was really fun, and this was an autumn read, so I definitely recommend this if you like a bookish cozy. It also has a very cute tuxedo cat, so always a bonus. One of my all-time favorite books last year, and I cannot remember for the life of me what season this takes place in, but it is such a good mystery that it needs to make the list, and that's Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Cusatanto, which I just learned has a second book coming out next year, and I'm so excited. This book is incredible. She's described as a lady of a certain age. She works and owns this tea shop in San Francisco's Chinatown area, but it's very forgotten, it's very empty, and this book has the strongest found family themes in it. And Vera Wong, essentially one morning, she has a very specific routine she goes through every day. She goes downstairs to make herself a cup of tea because she lives above her shop. There's a body there. Okay. So that in itself, obviously a little abnormal. She calls the police, but while she's waiting for them, she decides to take a look at things, and she finds a thumb drive and she decides to pocket it because who better than her to follow the clues and solve the mystery. And when I tell you, you will just love Vera Wong with all of your heart. I want Vera Wong in my life. I want this character in my life. She is so sweet. There's so much found family. There is a great mystery. It just, oh, this is absolutely one of my favorite cozy mysteries I think I've ever read, so I just had to include it. Speaking of a favorite cozy mystery series, Books Can Be Deceiving by Jen McKinley. This is the very first in the Library Lovers mystery series, and it's probably my favorite series from her. I do like her Cupcake Bakery mystery series too, but the Library Lovers one, oh, it has my heart. It's bookish. It takes place in like the Northeast, so like on the water. We have all these beautiful like boat scenes, and I just love it. There's an adorable dog that comes later in named Heathcliff, I want to say, and it's just gorgeous. She works as like a library director, Lindsay, and then her best friend Beth is like the children's librarian, and she dresses up in all these kooky costumes, which I love. And in this one, Beth's fiance is murdered and the police accuse Beth of the murder, so Lindsay gets involved to clear her best friend's name. This is such a bookish, cozy mystery series. I love the setting, with like the kind of Cape Cod, northeastern setting. It's beautiful. It's just, oh, it's amazing. It's a great bookish series. Absolutely recommend reading the series in order. This is book 1, so you can start there. And you will, as the series evolves, there's this Crafternoon group that meets at the beginning and end of every book. They discuss a book and do crafts, which is just the ultimate like cozy thing ever. And I love the character development of so many of the sub-characters in this book. I would just strongly recommend the series. If you're looking for a quick spooky read, like something you want to read on Halloween, this is actually a novella from a cozy mystery series I really enjoy, and it's called Haunted Hair Nights by Nancy J. Cohen. This is a Bad Hair Day mystery series. This is farther into the series than the other books I've been talking about, but you can definitely jump in. The only thing it would spoil is who she ends up with. But it's like most cozy mysteries, you can kind of infer from the first book or so who the character is going to end up with. So if you don't care about that, this is a great spooky cozy. Basically, Marla is helping out at her stepdaughter's haunted house like fundraising event for her school, because her stepdaughter I think is like in high school. And so she's actually going to be doing the hair on different people to like dress them up for like, you know, monsters and like haunted house characters and stuff like that, when she notices a stain on the ground and she thinks it's paint, but it's actually blood, and one of the teachers has been murdered. And this is just a novella that goes over it. There's lots of spooky vibes. The haunted house setting is great. If you're looking for just a taste of this cozy mystery series, this is a great one just to kind of dive into. All right, we got even more. Okay, so I have this book series is just taking me by storm. I adore it. I've recently read it for a vlog, which I'll link above, and that is A Novel Murder by Elizabeth Penny. This is The Secrets of the Castleton Manor Library Book 1 in the series is this book here, and it does take place in autumn. I confirmed this. And our main character is Faith Newberry. She has a cat named Watson. You get to read a couple little snippets from Watson's perspective, which I love. So if you like cats, if you like bookish, if you're looking for an autumn cozy, if you're looking for a really cool setting, because Faith actually lives on the like estate grounds, and then there's this epic like estate library with all these antique books, and they're always hosting new events. Like the second book I read has like a cooking book retreat, so all these like cookbook authors and fans were there. It was really cool. But this one actually involves like a Sherlockian event, which to me is the epitome of fall, not to mention it takes place during fall. And the mysteries for this have been so solid. They're on the shorter end usually, like just over 200 pages, so they're very quick reads, very fun little cat aspects to them. I really like Faith as a character, and each book is actually written by a different author. There are a few repeat authors later on, but I was really impressed with book 2 because it actually kept the tone and characters and everything so consistent, and I was a little worried about switching from one author to another within the series, but it worked great. It was so consistent and such a good mystery, and so was book 1. So I really recommend A Novel Murder if you're looking for a bookish fall cat cozy mystery. If you like historical fiction, this one is just such an intense, amazing cozy mystery read. It is cozy, but it was like a historical fiction first and foremost, and this is A Deed of Dreadful Note. This is book 1 in the Anna Katherine Green mysteries by Patricia Meredith. Oh, this book made me cry because one of the subplots was so emotional. Like I cried, okay? But this is historical fiction. Anna Katherine Green is actually a real author, and she actually published mystery novels about 15 years before like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Agatha Christie really came into popularity. So she's actually invented some of the tropes they used and popularized as well. And in this one, the author has reimagined her as a young woman. Her father is a lawyer, which was accurate to real life, as from what I understand. And in this one, her father's client is a young woman who's a little bit younger than her, like very young 20s, and she's accused of a murder, and Anna believes that she couldn't have done it, so she gets involved in the case. And the ending for this, when I say it flabbergasted me, flabbergasted. I was so shocked. And then the subplots for this had me in tears. I was not okay after reading this. So if you're looking for an emotional, historical, cozy mystery, this is really good. A series that I would generally recommend for fall because of the theme, which is the crocheting and needlework series, is the Needlecraft Mystery Series by Monica Ferris. So I recently picked up this volume. This is the first 3 in the series. I have read Cruel World, which is the first book, which I believe takes place during fall or winter. But again, it's more of the theme for this one that really draws me in for fall. And I have read some later in the series as well and really enjoyed it, so I'm really looking forward to getting into book 2 and 3 in the near future. But basically our main character is Betsy, and she arrives in this small town in Minnesota, and she is expecting to see her sister, who owns this like needlecraft shop, but her sister has been murdered, and she is going to solve this murder, avenge her sister's death, and she ends up taking over the shop. And that's kind of the kickoff for the series. It's a really good series. I found it to be very intricate. There's a lot of needlecraft talk, so if you're not, I didn't find it to be too much, even though I don't do needlecraft, but if you do like needlecraft, that'll definitely be a bonus for you. But I just thought it was such a cozy theme, so I wanted to include this one. A Halloween cozy, I mean, this is like the epitome of Halloween. This is the 3rd book in the Ice Cream Shop Mystery Series. I strongly recommend the whole series, and this is the latest release. It's by Mary Allen, and it's called Fatal Fudge Swirl. Is this cover not the best, like, Halloween cover just ever? Look at the gazebo, the pumpkins, look at the skull on the ice cream. I love this. I read this last year around fall time, and I adore it. It has a Halloween themed wedding that takes place on Halloween, and there's Halloween ice cream flavors. So our main character is Riley Rhodes, and she's a former CIA librarian and now an ice cream shop owner, and she is going to be catering for this Halloween wedding. There's also a movie production film going on at the same time, and there's all these tourists in town because they're leaf peeping because it takes place in Connecticut, so this beautiful foliage for fall, and this is just the most like Halloween fall packed cozy ever. I enjoyed it so much. It is book 3 in this series. I think you can jump in if you really just want to skip to this one for the season, but all 3 of them are really good. Another series I just love. Book 2 in the series is specifically my fall recommendation, but the whole series especially feels perfect for fall, and that is the Cheese Shop Mystery Series by Karina Moss, because I don't know about you, but cheese, I think like mac and cheese, I think charcuterie boards, I think cheesy broccoli soups. it just feels like the right time of year for me. And the first one in the series is Cheddar Off Dead. The second one is Gone for Good, and this is my specific recommendation because this one takes place during fall. And there is this fall festival in town. Main character Willa owns a French-inspired cheese shop that's in Sonoma Valley, California, and she is participating in this fall festival, and she's invited this vegan chef named Phoebe to like kind of do some you know, demonstrations and events at her shop because she's a really popular vegan chef and she's trying to showcase some of her vegan cheeses. And then something happens, of course, and we do have a cute little puppy here who makes an entrance in this one, and I've read every book in this series so far. I love it. It is such a strong cozy mystery series. It's one I truly love so much, and the second book is particularly amazing for fall. Okay, Murder Outside the Lines by Krista Davis. So this is part of the Pen and Ink mystery series, which I think is not going to be continued. If you know, let me know, because there's 4 books out, and I think it's been discontinued because I haven't seen anything else about a new release, and that's making me really sad. But the main premise for this is Flory Fox is our main character. She works at a bookshop. She actually lives on this estate in like the kind of, I don't know what they call those homes. You know, like the little houses in the back of like the mansions, like a gatekeeper's home or something. I'm not sure. I've never lived in one, clearly, but she works in this bookshop. She's also a coloring book artist, and she draws clues and crime scenes, which I find to be a very interesting element. But the third book in the series, Murder Outside the Lines, specifically takes place during Halloween and is filled with fall vibes. There's also a cute cat in the series. So this is just one that I just adore. The theme, the bookish theme is amazing. The Halloween themes in the third book, incredible. And yeah, I absolutely recommend it. There's a psychic. I mean, what's not to love? Then I actually have one more ice cream themed cozy, which is really funny. This is not the specific recommendation, but this is from the same series, so I will pop the specific picture on screen. This is from the Lickety Splits Ice Cream Shop Mystery by Cynthia Baxter. And our main character is Kate. She opens Lickety Splits, which is an ice cream shop, like milkshake shop. And the one that I'm recommending specifically is Last Licks, and this one takes place during Halloween. It is filled to the max with Halloween and fall references, Halloween flavors. She's got these twins, I think, that work for her, twin boys, like they're teens, and they create all these kooky flavors, which is just a hoot. She also lives with her niece and grandmother, and I love the family dynamics there, and the mysteries kept getting better for this one. In fact, I'm missing, I think, the last book in the series I need to read. I need to get my hands on that. That's a good reminder because I love this series. It is such a fun series, and Last Licks was perfect for this time of year. No Harm, No Foul by Linda Riley. This is the second in the Grilled Cheese Shop mystery series. I've read book 1 and 2 in this series, and I want to throw this on the list. I enjoyed both book 1 and 2, but it's not an all-time favorite for me, but it's so many people's favorite cozy series, so I wanted to really emphasize it because I know a lot of people love it. The second one in the series does take place during the fall. There's a lot of fall activities. Our main character opens a grilled cheese shop. Absolutely, you will need to have cheese on hand to read this series. Same with the Cheese Shop series by Karina Moss. You need cheese because you will be, there's so many interesting combinations and like deluxe grilled cheese recipes. So I would just recommend checking that series out. It's a really fun one. Book 2 is a good time for fall. Murder Wears a Little Black Dress by Deborah Sunfielder. This is the first book in the series. It is a resale boutique mystery series, and I adore this mystery series, and I'm hoping more is coming out. Because I think I only have 1 or 2 left in the series. I think there's 5 or 6 in total, and I've loved every single one. The first one takes place leading up to Halloween, which is so perfect. There is a grumpy cat in this one. Our main character has taken over a relative who's passed away, like their shop, and she's really trying to elevate it because she's actually an ex-Manhattanite, like, fashion buyer. So she's trying to use her merchandising skills to really elevate this like kind of thrift resale shop into more of a thrift boutique, and to use her marketing prowess and stuff like that. And I just adore the series. I love all the business elements. There's some really interesting family subplots throughout the series that I've so enjoyed, and the first book had all these great Halloween and fall vibes to it, so a really good one to start off if you're looking to start a cozy series in order. And then Death of a Neighborhood Witch by Laura Levine. Now this is the one I was talking about that's like really far into the series. I think it's like book 11. But this cozy series is very static in the sense that it's like a TV episode, like Scooby-Doo episode, where it's like the same characters, different plot, but like rinse and repeat. It's very much like it's very stagnant. but it's very fun. It's a very funny cozy mystery series. It's almost like comedy first. If you're looking for something to make you laugh, this series actually makes me laugh out loud. It is very in your face with the humor. There's a lot of self-deprecating humor, but I find it to be hilarious. I mean, the main character, her name is Jane Austen. She's a freelance writer, so I love that personally. I love writers as characters. I think they're just fun, especially because if you know, the author obviously knows what it's like to be a writer, and she's named her cat Prozac. I mean, if that doesn't tell you a little bit about the humor, but in this one there is a Halloween like neighborhood gathering and like party, and there's this neighborhood witch who is very abrasive, and she ends up being murdered, and Jane gets involved in the case, and it's just hilarious. And these are also on the shorter side, so very easy to fly through, just very fun, very humorous. If I need a pick-me-up, this is one of my go-to series. Okay, so now we're gonna move into supernatural cozies. Now, if you're not a big supernatural cozy fan, I would still stick around because I'm not either. A lot of these are more on the lighter supernatural side, so like a touch of like whimsical ghosts or something like that. I will kind of give like an idea of how paranormal or supernatural cozy is as I'm going, but let's start with one that I've recently started reading, and that is the Kitchen Witch mystery series by Lynn Cahoon. My friend so kindly sent these to me, and I recently read One Poison Pie in a bingo vlog. And our main character Mia is a kitchen witch. She can basically kind of like infuse magic into her food. She's got some like enhanced senses, but the magic doesn't involve, like, it doesn't really affect the mystery in any significant way. So her almost fiance leaves her, and Mia decides to move back to her grandmother's quirky Idaho town. So great small town setting, and she opens this catering business, and during her first catering gig something goes awry. A body is found, and there's a lot of drama going on. She also has her ex's sister show up at her door, and I love their relationship. I found that to be such an interesting subplot. You will hate her ex. You will hate her ex. I really I do not like him. These are the other two in the series, 2 and 3, and I think there's about 6 or 7 out in the series in total. But this is a really nice one that's like lightly witchy, some fun elements, some witchy family magic, but nothing too over the top, just a good time. Similarly, if you're looking for a very lightly supernatural one, Be My Ghost by Carol J. Perry. This actually takes place during Halloween. There are 2 books out in the series. The second book takes place during Christmas. The first one takes place during Halloween, so perfect time to start this series. And our main character moves down to Florida. She's like located in like the Northeast. She moves to Florida after getting this strange message that she's inherited this like B&B from this person. She doesn't know them. She has no idea who they are. Well, she moves down there to find out that the B&B is haunted, so she can actually see and talk to ghosts, but other people don't see the ghosts. She also has a golden retriever named Finn, who is adorable. Absolutely adorable, and there's some cats at the hotel as well, so that was really fun. But while she's there and kind of deciding whether she wants to sell the place, whether she wants to keep it and run it, one of the guests at the hotel is murdered, and she becomes a suspect along with other people at the hotel. And I just love, I can picture the B&B so clearly, the way the author describes it. The small cozy town, it's a beachy town, so it's kind of a fun off-kilter setting for Halloween or Christmas, because we usually think of, you know, cooler, colder weather and like trees and stuff like that maybe for that time of year, but it's just so fun and quirky. A little bit of fun with the ghosts. There's a ghost who likes to dress up with like movie star clothing and stuff, and it's just fun, like fun details, very quirky, very whimsical, very just a good time. If you're looking for something that's more solidly supernatural, I recommend the Enchanted Bay mystery series by Esme Addison. This is the second. It's called A Hex for Danger. And this actually involves mermaid magic, which I think is a fun twist, because I feel like most supernatural cozies are like ghosts or witches. And this one involves mermaid magic, which I thought was really cool. And our main character is Alexandra, and she helps to run her family's apothecary like herb shop, and she is learning more about her Caribbean mermaid heritage and kind of where her powers, she's kind of got these like water powers and like herb powers are coming from, and she's learning about the family business, and each one has a murder. I would say this is like part supernatural fiction, part mystery. The mystery is definitely prevalent in both, but there's definitely a very strong supernatural component, but it's a really great time for kind of a summer or fall read because of the mermaid magic. Similarly, this is a little sneak peek for a vlog I'm doing. I finished Bait and Witch by Angela M. Sanders. I listened to this on audio actually. I loved it. And this is the Witch Way Librarian mystery series. So if you like bookish, supernatural, cats, that's all you need to know. Just kidding. But this one is fun. Our main character is Josie, and she has recently moved from the big city into this small town in the middle of nowhere because she's actually kind of hiding from her past, which I found to be a very interesting element because she's a Congress librarian, and she overhears something she shouldn't have, and she's testifying in court against a very powerful person. So she's kind of on the run in the meantime because she's afraid for her life. So she moves out to the small town, takes a job as a librarian, and while she's there, she ends up having this cat Rodney who kind of comes together with her, who's kind of like her familiar, and she starts to learn that there's actually some magic that runs in her family. I thought it was very interesting the way the magic was explained in this. She can talk to the books, and like she gets the perfect book recommendations. There's a lot to it, but it's a very fun series. I thought the mystery for this, I was shocked. I actually was really shocked by the ending. I really enjoyed it. So it just had the perfect amount of bookish, witchy, cat, cozy vibes. I really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to getting further into the series and kind of seeing Josie establish herself more. Death Overdue by Alison Brooke. This is more on the lightly supernatural side. This is another bookish one, but this does take place during Halloween, and it is the first book in the series. This one is a haunted library mystery series. So the only supernatural element really to this is that there's a ghost who haunts the library that only our main character and like her niece, who's very young, can talk to or see. So it's very minimal. The ghost just kind of provides like a sounding board and sometimes like an interesting fact or two from her time at the library, but it's more like a friend, a ghostly friend. So it's very supernatural, it's very whimsical. There is a cute cat in this series, and the main character has an interesting past where her father is actually like a criminal. Like he's pulled off different like heists and things like that. So she's very ashamed of like kind of where she comes from, and I found that to be very interesting. Her name's Carrie Singleton, and she's a library director. She's really got something to kind of prove, and I just like her as a character. I think she's very, I don't know, I think she's pretty perky. She's going for it. She's like, okay, this is who I am. I'm going for it. She's really trying to establish herself and do the best job she can. And the first one, as you can tell from the cover, it's got all the perfect Halloween kind of spooky vibes to it, plus the supernatural element. So a really great one for this time of year. Steeped to Death by Gretchen Rue. This is a witchy tea mystery series. I don't think I quite named this series correctly. I'll put it on screen. But this has a cat. We have a main character who's discovering her kind of witchy abilities. This one is definitely heavier on the supernatural, so keep that in mind. But I actually found it to be a very interesting supernatural cozy, which, again, supernatural cozies aren't usually my thing. So this was one of the first ones I read that I really enjoyed. So we have a part bookstore, part herb, and like tea shop, and the main character can actually infuse like kind of wishes and like intentions into the herbs and the tea. So she kind of has that magical kind of like healer ability, if you will. A murder happens in town. She starts to discover her abilities. It's just a really fun time, very whimsical. I love the setting with the book and tea shop, so I really had to include that. And for those of you that want the most supernatural, the most paranormal, the most kooky, this book here. This is called Homicide at the Haunted House, Nightmare, Arizona, Paranormal Cozy Mysteries, Book 1 by Beth Dolgner. Oh my goodness. So our main character is Olivia. She is in her early 40s. She is divorced. She is broke. She is on her way across the country on a road trip to like California, and she ends up her car breaks down in Nightmare, Arizona, which is this old mining town, and all I can picture is Miner 49er Scooby-Doo episode. So I love that personally. So it takes place in the Southwest, and she ends up getting a temporary job at a haunted house to try to make ends meet because she's completely broke. She can't even pay for her car repair. So she gets this job, and she shortly after discovers a body on her first day at work, and that there are some very paranormal things happening. And when I say paranormal, I mean like there's a werewolf. Like, it's very paranormal. So if you're looking for something very kooky, very out there, this is it. I especially loved the mining town setting. Adored it. Loved that. So had to include this as just a very kooky, supernatural, cozy mystery choice. Okay, our next category is going to be like more general mysteries. A lot of these are on the cozier side. I don't think any of these are particularly graphic, but I wanted to kind of separate them just to make it clearer. My first recommendation is more of an author recommendation, and that's B.R. Myers. This was one of my favorite books last year. It's called A Dreadful Splendor. Be Careful What You Conjure. And then this was her new release this year, which is The Third Wife of Faraday House. Both of these are like very gothic and atmospheric. I very much feel kind of like Daphne du Maurier. It's historical fiction. This one takes place in Victorian London. This one takes place in 1816 in November. So with this one, we actually have Genevieve, and she poses as a spiritualist to kind of scam people, basically. Like, she's kind of a con artist, and then she gets caught and she's given a way out. She can perform a seance for this young lord in the area who lost his bride-to-be, and like convince him and give him peace. She'll be let off the hook. It's a very interesting premise. It's a very, very chilling. It's like by the cliffs, this huge mansion, very creepy. I really enjoyed this. And then The Third Wife of Faraday House, I equally enjoyed. In this one, we have our main character, Emmeline. She's going to become the third wife to Captain Graves, who owns Faraday House, which is this seaside, very creepy estate. But when she arrives, she learns that the second wife isn't even dead yet. Now they're sick, but she is shocked, and she's now wondering what happened to the other two wives. Is this man cursed? It kind of gives Rebecca vibes, honestly, with a very creepy like housekeeper, the cold, crisp like sea. It's very creepy and ominous. Both of these, just the vibes, the atmosphere, the gothic kind of nature of them make them really great fall reads, in my opinion. I have to recommend this young adult mystery series. There are 3. It is a trilogy. This is the Clue mystery series by Diana Peter Freund. This is book 1 right here and book 2. And this is a YA adaptation of the Clue board game characters. So they're reimagined and they're at a school. So it's kind of like a little bit of a dark academia vibe to it. And each series or book in the series, a murder happens, and the Clue gang, who aren't actually friends, not all of them, kind of end up stuck together and trying to solve the mystery. And I just found this fun. It is multiple points of views. You're reading from each character's perspectives. It's young adult. I don't think you'll have the hardest time figuring out the mysteries necessarily, but it's just a fun time. And I loved seeing the characters from a board game that I love brought to life. So if you're kind of in a mood for like a Clue type mystery, this is a good one. Speaking of a Clue type mystery, The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. I read this last year. Again, one of my favorite mystery reads last year. And this one's definitely on the cozier side. It's pretty tame overall, but this is like Clue meets the Great British Bake Off. There's a baking competition. There's all these contestants. They're very much like caricatures, kind of like Clue characters, and they're in this big manor, which the person who hosts, the lady who hosts the British Bake Off show equivalent, she owns it. It's like it's like a manor with all this family history. It's very rich. And there's even like a billiard room and like all the kind of rooms you have in the Clue mansion. Like it's like right out of a Clue game. It really is. And the characters are interesting, and the baking descriptions are amazing, and you know from the beginning, because you're reading a little bit from like future events, that someone has died, but you don't know who, and you're reading up to it and seeing these contestants compete and things are happening, and it's just great. Another one I read this year and I really was surprised by how much I loved it is Cabaret Macabre by Tom Mead. This is a Joseph Spector locked room mystery. This one came out this year. This is a series, and all of them are like puzzle mysteries, locked room mysteries in the English countryside. And I have never read any of the other books in this series, so I jumped right into the series. I had no issue following this, and I adored it. And what's interesting about Joseph Spector is he's actually a retired stage magician and detective. Like amateur sleuth kind of detective. And he gets like sought out by this lady in the area who has this like court case going on, and she needs this help, and there's this other case going on, and the two cases collide at this family estate. So there's a really great creepy locked room setting at this estate that's huge and sprawling, and it's so interesting with the stage magic aspect. It really reminds me of Golden Age mysteries, the style it's written in. I had such a fun time. I would never have called this. It was so clever and like just witty the way this was written. I really think it's a solid mystery to check out. And then last but not least for this category, just like a fun, crazy time if you're looking for a mystery series. This is not a cozy mystery, but it's fun. And it's called Finlay Donovan is Killing It, and this is by Elle Cosimano. So the reason it's not a cozy mystery series is because there is some organized crime, there is a bit of language and some more graphic violence. Not too intense, but more than your average cozy would have. Our main character is a mom and like a mystery thriller writer, and one day she's meeting her agent at a restaurant, and she's talking about her new like thriller plot, which involves like a contract killer, and someone overhears her and mistakes her, Finley Donovan, for a contract killer, and they try to hire her. And it's just this is the most like hilarious, it's very funny, it's very witty. I would just recommend this. It's a really good time. And I love what it says here on the cover, which is most moms are ready to kill someone by 8:30 a.m. on any given morning. And there's so much like mom and like just relatable humor in this that's really good. I love her kind of sidekick and assistant, Vera. I really love Veronica. She's such a great character. And I've read a couple more in the series and they were pretty good. I think the series kind of falls off a little bit, but the first like 2 books are definitely good reads. Okay, last but not least, we have some classic mystery recommendations that just give really great spooky kind of gothic ominous vibes for this time of year. First off, I have to recommend this, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier and My Cousin Rachel. Both of these are so, I mean, this author is the queen of like gothic atmosphere. So in Rebecca, basically this young woman marries a man named Max de Winter, and he previously had a wife named Rebecca who died under kind of mysterious circumstances. She arrives at the place. It's very much like a suspense mystery. I wouldn't say thriller, but very suspenseful. She arrives there and she is just, Rebecca's like presence is everywhere and she feels it, and it's very psychological, and people are comparing her to Rebecca and how she's not the same, and she gets more involved in kind of solving what happened to Rebecca, and it's just very psychologically creepy and atmospheric. Similarly, My Cousin Rachel involves this woman named Rachel and this young man named Philip, and Rachel was kind of involved with Philip's, I think it's his uncle or cousin who kind of like raised him. And she arrives at the estate after that person passes away, and Philip's suspicious of her but quickly becomes enchanted with her. But the question is, did Rachel have anything to do with his like mentor's like murder or like death, or was it just a natural death? He doesn't know. We don't even know. And it's just a really creepy, moody, atmospheric read. Very creepy setting. Great job on that. And then Agatha Christie, of course I have to recommend some. So Miss Marple, anything from Miss Marple, really, I love it. I've read the complete short stories. Specifically, I love The Moving Finger. That's the 3rd book in the Miss Marple series. You can read them out of order if you want. And this one involves these blackmail letters where people around this small town are getting blackmailed via letters, and they're very specific, detailed accusations. And it's actually led to someone ending their own life because they were so ashamed of the accusation and maybe it coming out to the public. And this involves Miss Marple getting involved, tracking down the blackmailer, and it's such a gripping, unexpected mystery. I was shocked. Similarly, I started with The Body in the Library by Miss Marple, and I really enjoyed that. That was my first Miss Marple ever. Great read. Really, anything by Agatha Christie, amazing for this time of year, but those are 2 that I wanted to highlight. Alright guys, that is everything for me. Thank you so much for watching this huge ultimate guide to fall cozy mystery and mysteries that I think are just perfect for spooky season. I hope this gave you some more ideas for your TBR. Please let me know what are your favorite fall reads. I would love to hear your recommendations. You always give such good ones. Thank you again for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I do post new videos on my channel every single week, especially within the mystery genre. So if you like anything to do with bookish, cozy, or mysteries, I cover that here. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!